Oh no. I thought I'd try putting on red lipstick just to, I don't know, just for fun. This is gonna be like a little story time. So I had someone comment in one of my videos asking me how I kind of became a graphic designer. This is for Simply Right. Thank you for your comment because you've helped me and gave me some ideas on what to talk about. So let's see, hopefully I will help you. To let you guys know what she said in my previous video, she asked what I do and how I got into it, and you know, to see if it can help her. I think she's trying to decide her A levels. She's from the UK and I'm from the UK too, so I did all of that. So hopefully I will help you, and I'll help anyone else who's kind of, you know, who has to decide what to do with their school subjects and stuff, you know, because I'm so experienced. I don't know why I cringe. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I don't have the authority to speak about certain things, but I got asked, so I guess, you know, let's go. Let me tell you what I do now. So I'm a freelancer. I do social media management for a client, and I do some other like graphic design works here and there, like smaller gigs. And I also work part-time on weekends. It's kind of like a little comfort thing, I guess, because I get to see my work colleagues, and you know, they're also my friends, so I get to kind of like chill out and see people, because most of the times I'm at home working. It's nice to just do something different and kind of like do some customer service, you know, and just remind myself where I came from, you know. And to tell you guys how I got into this, it was all random. It was really random. Everything was random. Literally, my life is like a series of random events that have led me to here, somewhere where I wanted to be, but it's just like I'm doing something totally different, but I'm cool with it, you know. It was cool. So to give you a little backstory now, of how I ended up here, to go, you know, let's go to the beginning. Like I mentioned, I grew up in Italy. My parents moved then I was like a baby, so I was like 6 months or something. So I was kind of like born and raised there. Just the borning was in another continent. And obviously I went to school and stuff until I was 16, and you know, typical Asian parents, they wanted me to become a doctor, so I did like I had to do all sciences and stuff, which was not fun, guys. Not fun when you're not good at science and maths and like stuff, you know. It was just, and also like I said, I wasn't having a good time anyway. People just didn't like me, and I was bad at school, so it was just like a very shitty combo, you know. It was just like, you know, being brown, dumb, and just chubby. It's just the worst combo if you live in a country like Italy. Like, not to shit on the country, like I miss it. I still call it home, but we'll get into that another time. I don't want to get too into that stuff. But yeah, and then we moved here to the UK. Again, I had to carry on with my sciencey stuff because that's all I had. That's all I knew I had to do. I did my GCSEs and my A levels on like science, chemistry, maths, psychology, physics. Just thinking about it, it was crazy because I hated it. I hated it so much, you know. All I wanted to do was art, and I also liked languages, so I really wanted to do something a bit more like creative, but obviously who's gonna convince my parents, you know? Who's gonna do that? I used to be a bit kind of like angry about it. Like I felt like I wasted my time doing like subjects that I wasn't interested in and I wasn't good at. But you know what? It's my origin story. I am who I am because of all that. And also I've met friends, and I have, like, you know, my closest friends from doing like A levels in sciences. So hey, you know, it's kind of like, it was kind of like a win-win situation. No, like lose-lose but win at the end situation kind of thing. And when it came to going to uni, obviously I wasn't really doing well in my subjects, and I think my parents kind of realized that you know, there's no point. There's no point. You can't force me to become a doctor if I'm not good at it, you know, or an engineer or a lawyer, because it's not in me. Okay, look at me. Do I look like a doctor to you? Even though every time I tell my mom like something about like that I've read up from Google, she's like, oh, you should have become a doctor. I'm like, yeah, maybe I should have. So when it came to choosing unis, I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. I was trying to figure out if there was a way for me to do anything that was kind of creative, but also like use what I had, like my sciencey stuff. And I kind of came up with interior design. Yeah, you know, it felt creative. It felt a little bit technical. My parents seemed to be cool with this. I was like, okay, you know. And I applied here and there. A lot of unis rejected me because obviously I didn't have any background. I made up a portfolio with random drawings. But hey, it did work at the end. You know, got offered like a position in one of the unis. And it was super random because like I wasn't incredibly passionate about it. I did appreciate it and I still do. But in that moment, I remember like thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. Because like, sure, it's fun. Like, you know, I did see myself becoming an interior designer and I did enjoy what we were doing. I hated making models though. You'd think I'd be good at it because I like drawing, but... And then when I graduated, COVID happened. So that was fun. Like just before COVID happened, I was looking for jobs here and there, but I wasn't really trying as much because obviously I was a little bit like drained from uni, so I was taking it slow. I had my little part-time job and it was fun, you know, like I kind of, it felt good to just switch my brain off for a little bit and just chill and not worry too much about what to do. But I was looking around, you know, looking for things and applying here and there. Then COVID hit and that just ruined it. That just ruined everything. Not that things weren't ruined, but you know, it just catapulted me into the nothingness of into something that I don't know, in nothing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, I spent most of COVID drawing and stuff and like kind of getting into fitness. And when the lockdown ended, I had nothing. Like I said, it was the void of nothingness. So yeah, when lockdown ended, I just, you know, I had nothing to show. I kept on applying, and you know, a lot of jobs required like 2-3 years experience. Even for junior positions, they wanted me to have experience. They wanted me to have all these other skills that I never learned in uni. I was so confused because, you know, don't get me wrong, uni was fun. I got to design stuff and do little projects and presentations and like, you know, build 3D models and stuff like that. It was so cool. But they didn't teach me anything about the real world. I didn't get to learn how to get clients or how to get a job and learn. They didn't even teach us how to, like, what the actual interior design job requires. Like, it's not just sitting there and creating like cute little interior plans. It's a lot more. There's so much more to that I didn't know and I still don't know. So I don't really consider myself an interior designer, even though like I have the degree, because you know, I just know how to make a little CAD model. But yeah, so after that I spent many years looking for a job, looking for clients, redoing my portfolio a bunch of times, applying, getting rejected, going for interviews and like being told I didn't have experience, that I wasn't suitable. I just had it all, you know. I lost count of how many jobs I applied to, how many emails I've sent, cold emails and etc. But who's gonna take me? Like, I literally didn't have experience. Like, I had nothing to show. It was just, you know, my pretty little uni portfolio, which I think it looked pretty good. I don't know about you, but you know, things looking pretty is not enough, sadly. Unlike how most schools and unis tell you. And also I feel like living in London, like you need to know people to get into places, and I didn't really know anyone from the industry to, you know, to use. So it was kind of like, it felt very lonely, you know. I felt like I was the only person going through this stuff because everyone else, all my friends and like classmates seemed to have found a job, or like at least like an internship or something, and I literally had nothing. I was doing nothing. I was just working at my little retail job, applying, drawing here and there, going to the gym here and there. That's it. That's all I was doing while everyone else was moving on. And after a few years of trying, I kind of gave up and I decided to apply to any kind of creative job that I could find, like internships or whatever. And I managed to get a little internship as a graphic designer for this place in London. It was a horrible experience because I didn't get paid and I worked for a few months, but I realized how much I like designing stuff. I was doing like mostly packaging design for cosmetics, and I remember how much I was enjoying it, like, making mood boards and coming up with patterns and designing bits, even though, like, I didn't have that much freedom. Like, things had to be very restricted due to the briefs and the requirements, but I really enjoyed it. It was so fun. I started becoming kind of good at it. Like, I wasn't perfect. I didn't really have any kind of like knowledge of design or understood it properly or what it meant, but I kind of like started learning it as I was in that job. And then once I left, I just carried on doing it. And I remember how much I liked my job, like what I was doing, but I hated the job because I had to go into an office and everyone was so mean. Like, it felt like I was back in school and I was just people would look at me up and down and things like that. But let's not get into that. Let's not uncover traumatic events in this video. I'll do that on another one, okay? Once I left, I carried on doing my design stuff, and I started watching YouTube videos, learning more about, how to make logos, how to design stuff, what do you do with design, how it helps brands, and what you can do with these skills, and etc. And I realized I really enjoyed it. It was very hard. Like, I found it very difficult because some of the times I didn't know what I was doing, but I feel like I had more control on learning things by myself rather than when I was at uni. And I felt like I was kind of looking up the business side of things, the marketing side of things. Not that I was very good at it, even though I learned it. I'm still not very good at it, but I feel like I learned more doing that by myself than me going to uni, to be honest. So yeah, eventually I started getting a couple of clients. Some of them were friends. Shout out to my friends for hiring me. I started building a little portfolio. I started doing passion projects, and started applying for design jobs. Guess what? Even that was hard. Just no one wanted to take me. I don't know. I guess I'm not wanted. I'm like, I don't know. It sounds really sad. I was sad, but I look at it now as, like I said, as my origin story. I feel like every rejection I had was a little redirection. I don't know who said this on the internet, but I'm sorry if I stole it, but it's true. I'm looking at things like that a bit more, and it's helping me kind of like feel not so bad about the things that happened and how I couldn't get jobs. And to be honest, deep inside, I didn't want a job. Especially after working in the office for those months, like a 9 to 5 kind of thing, I really did not like it. I don't think I like working with too many people and having to speak with everyone and having all these aimless, conversations. It's just not me. I can't. Give me a small team and I'll be okay, but I'm a bit of an introvert, as you can tell. I really am. Most people think I'm mean when they meet me, so but I am not. I am very nice. I will buy you apples. Like, I am that kind of person. I actually don't think I've ever bought anyone apples. I don't know why I said that. I would buy you cashews because I love cashews. They're my favorite nuts. And yeah. And then what happened? I started applying for a other types of design jobs. I thought, okay, if I can't get a job as a graphic designer, I do social media for my art stuff. Let me apply for social media stuff. You know, why not? Like, I've been posting on Instagram since the dawn of time. I haven't really grown my page, but hey, I have been doing it. Some things have gone viral. I know a few things, and why not? Also, because every time I kept on looking for design jobs, social media would come up all the time. So if I had to apply for a graphic design job, it meant I had to do social media. So I decided to like fuse the two together and just see what happens, you know? At the beginning of this year, I had a couple of interviews here and there as a social media manager and stuff like that. And again, they were like for proper jobs. And I rejected them. I did the interviews. It was fun. They took a lot of my time. Like, they wanted to get me to make content for them and test things and stuff like that. It was very like draining, like applying for those type of jobs, because I feel like there was no trust in the actual applicant, because I don't know. Anyway, it was really draining, and I ended up rejecting all of those jobs. I got offered like even good money, but I realized how I didn't want to go into an office, and I just didn't want to. I don't know, I feel like the internship office really traumatized me, okay? And I just imagining me doing that again felt really like, you know? I carried on looking for clients basically. As a social media manager or a graphic designer, I would send proposals around and things like that. And then what happened? The catalyst. Is that what you call? I don't know. I had one specific client that rejected me very badly. I offered my graphic design services and like to offer them to help do a little rebrand, because I noticed how their website looked a bit trash and their logo looked a bit trash, and they could have done with a little bit of like a little boost, you know. I sent over a proposal and they rejected me, not just with like a simple no, like sorry, bye, not interested. No, they made me feel really bad about it. They pointed out how I didn't have a proper email, how I didn't have a website, and how my portfolio was on Behance. Kind of like, oh, how do you have the audacity to even approach us kind of deal, okay? Until then, like based off my research, you know, it didn't seem like it was a big deal to not have a proper email or a website and things like that, because obviously I was still a beginner, and there were certain things that like I didn't prioritize on purpose, because like it just felt like I didn't need to focus on that when I could focus on something else. I just felt like really not qualified, and I felt like I was, you know, maybe being a bit too overconfident, and I should just give up. But a girl didn't stop, okay? Because we can't stop. We can't let these losers get to us, okay? Fine, I didn't have an email. Fine, I didn't have a website. Fine, the only thing I had was just audacity to approach you. Sorry, I did, you know, sorry. But hey, I felt like I was confident in my work. I didn't feel like I needed all those things, and I did it like, sure, I needed a client, sure, I needed money, but I also genuinely wanted to get these clients to realize that I could help them. And I said it multiple times that, you know, it wasn't about them choosing me, like they didn't need to choose me, but I was hoping to help them understand that, you know, upgrading your branding could benefit your business. And if you realize that and you decide not to go with me, but you go with some other person, I'll take that as a win, because that's how cheesy I am. That's how much I care about nice things, okay? I just wanted them to make money off nice designs. Sorry, you know? Anyway, right after that, you know, after I was spending like a day crying, I got approached by a client really randomly. And yeah, I've been their social media manager since then. And it's been hard. It's not, it's still quite difficult. They're my proper first client, so I feel like there's been a lot of learning curves. Like I'm learning a lot, they're learning a lot. There's moments that it's quite difficult, but it's been really wonderful because it's exactly what I wanted. Because I remember there was a point in between graduating, like just after COVID, and me looking for an interior design job and then a graphic design job, where as much as I felt like giving up, in my head I had this very clear idea. I wanted to work from home, not having to go to an office, where I have flexibility to work. I get to sleep in a little bit sometimes if I want to. I get to work when I want, and I get to do something I really enjoy. And I always had that vision. I remember telling one of my friends from work that like I see myself doing that. Like I don't know, like I don't want to go into an office. I want to be at home or work from a cafe and create stuff, and that's what I got. It took time. It took time because probably I in between I doubted myself, and like I questioned things, like I panicked, so it did take some time, but I did get what I wanted. And I'm so grateful, even though like there's still bad days, there's still good days when like I struggle and things are not perfect, but it's what I wanted and I got it. It's something that I never thought I would do when I was younger. Like even at uni, I never thought I would get into this career path, and I'm so excited to see what happens later, because like I feel like things have taken me in so many different places, and now I'm doing something so different. Do you get me? Like what's gonna be next? And like I mean, now I'm doing YouTube, so do you see what I mean? It's crazy. But this was a little bit long. I don't know if any of it was helpful, but just to conclude things, if you're like young and you're deciding your A levels, or you're deciding your school or subjects to choose to go to to study, I really need you to chill out. You'll be fine. And like I'm telling you from experience, like I wish like I didn't need to stress as much as I did when I was younger. Things have worked out fine, and I know they'll get even better for me. And I know it's confusing, like, and it's kind of scary to just be like, oh, I have to choose this topic and I have to stick with it for the rest of my life. You don't. You really don't. Life, like I say all the time, life is happening to us. Things change. We have to adapt. Don't take it too seriously, I guess. That's my message. I don't know. Just don't stress yourself out too much. And another little advice would be, as fun as all these creative courses are, if you want to get into like graphic design, interior design, or art or anything, if they don't teach you the marketing and business side of things in the course, please try to do that on your own, because it's good to have the skills. It's nice to be a good designer, but like I said, your work being pretty is not enough a lot of the times. But sometimes it can be. I mean, I don't know. It can be. If it is, like, like, enjoy. But just for your own kind of, like, to help out future you. I think if you watch a few videos, you read up a couple books, it will give you a lot more than I had when I went to uni, because I had nothing in my brain, okay? So yeah, just don't take things too seriously, and don't worry if you stop enjoying it at some point, because you don't have to do that forever, and you can adapt to things, to the market, like I have, without realizing, and you might end up doing something completely different and love it. So it doesn't have to be, I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, if you don't know what you want, your life is ruined. It doesn't have to be that bad, okay? It won't, honestly. I feel like you should realize you're already, you're in a very good position already. Like, even if you do something that you're not really enjoying, you got a skill out of it. You get something that you learned, I hope. And you can use that. You can use it to get the actual thing that you want, okay? Anyway, I don't know if this video was helpful at all. I feel like I just yapped, and I hope, yeah, just let me know if you want to know anything else, or I don't know if I can, I don't know. I'll see you next time, guys. I don't know. I'm so hungry now.